9 fragrances from the House of Tom Ford from my collection that I've ranked. I put a little bit of thought into this one and ranking these. So I've got 9 and I'm going to count them down. Why 9? Why not 20? It's because I only have 9 Tom Ford fragrances. I used to have 10, but I sold Ombre Leather. I sold it. Didn't like it. I got bored of it after a while. So I guess that's an honorable mention. So there's your 10. Okay, let's start with number 1, or number 9, I should say. Number 9 is... Number 9 is this one. It is Tuscan leather, right? It's the one that I like the least that I have in my collection. No, actually, it's become nicer. But would I wear it? I don't know if I would wear it. This is that oily leather rag that my mechanic uses to butt his cigars out on. Yeah. I don't like it, and I've been trying to sell it for quite some time now for a ridiculously reasonable price as well. But it seems like no one else likes it as much as they say they do, because I still have it. Number 8 is Oud Wood. Like I said in my recap video, I Oud wouldn't. If you haven't watched that recap video, you should watch it. Link in somewhere up here. This nondescript smell is only nice when you're having an intimate sweat session with your partner, or by yourself. I'm not going to judge much. Maybe they should have called it Oud Woody. I don't like it, and just like Tuscan leather, I've been trying to sell it, but I've got like this 95 mils left in this 100 ml bottle, and I'm trying to sell it for less than the price of a 50 ml, and there's no takers. Maybe I should just combine it with like a box of tissues and some Vaseline for a bundle deal. Number 7 is Beau de Jour, or Beau de Jour, however you want to call it. This is the modernized version of Brut for men by Fabergé, but it's trying way too hard, whereas Brut just doesn't really care. Beau de Jour is the man who makes an effort at trying to be beautiful, because they care about being beautiful. Tom Ford cares about being beautiful. So one of his friends interviewed him at his favorite restaurant, where he has a table, and he always sits at this table, and I listened to the interview. It was almost like a podcast kind of thing where the dude was interviewing him. And at this restaurant, every table has an overhead light. So I guess, so you could see your food and what you're eating, right? But Tom Ford knows that overhead lights cast ugly-ass shadows on your face that make you look like a beanbag that's just been sat in by an Instagram model who's had a BBL go wrong. So he told this restaurant that when he dines there, to turn off the overhead light. And when he dines there, that's what they do. And they do that so that Tom Ford can appear more beautiful. Tom Ford is Beau de Jour, and that's fine, because he's Tom Ford, a fucking legend. You're not, and neither am I, because we're something that he can never be. We're brutes, and we don't care. Number 6 is Noir Anthracite, a flanker of the original Noir. And this is so rough. I only feel like wearing this when I'm going to be outdoors in nature for some really odd reason. I have no idea why this reminds me of that. Like whenever I feel like, okay, I'm going to go out in nature, I'm going to chuck this on, I'm going to be at one with nature. I don't know why. But I do love it because it takes whatever it was trying to achieve as a perfume to the extreme, but still is recognizable as a perfume. This is for the man whose stubble can light matches. This is for a man who bleeds flannel shirts from the supermarket. This is for a man who quit smoking cigarettes so he can start smoking cigars. This is for a man. Tom Ford would probably never wear this, but he'd be in love with the man who does. Number 5 is Tom Ford for Men Extreme, or Extreme. No, it's not French, it's American. So Tom Ford for Men Extreme, discontinued by the way. And yes, I'm slowly discontinuing my own bottle by using it this much. This one really grew on me. The notes in the note listing are phenomenal. I love them. I love the idea of having these notes in a fragrance. The execution could have probably been handled better, but my oh my, is it great. Just the right amount of sweetness, just the right amount of funk, just the right amount of aroma. Everything is just the right amount, which is terrible because none of it actually is extreme. Then again, Tom Ford is really not known for going extreme. They should have just called it Tom Ford, just the right amount for men. And this is why I'm not in marketing. Number 4 is Noir, the OG, the original. This has been getting lukewarm reviews ever since it came out back in 2012, and it's not because it bears a striking resemblance to Prada's Amber Pour Homme Intense, which came out a year earlier. More because it was a challenging fragrance. Challenging? Really? Yeah, I guess it can be for those who still think the Easter Bunny is real. Mind you, the people that call this fragrance challenging are the same ones that endorse Aventus. That's probably more challenging than this. I bet if there was enough hype around this, no one would find it anything other than an absolute fucking panty dropper. And I don't use that term ever. And I don't use that term lightly. Anyway, this whole thing has worked out because it's kept the prices on this baby very reasonable considering it is discontinued. And I find it very strange given that so many people love Tom Ford's sense of style, but are lukewarm to one of his personal signature scents. Maybe it's a case of like, you'll like what I tell you to like, but you don't like what I like because you're not like him. That's why. Well, we're down to the last three, the top three at number 3. And this is getting a bit tough because in terms of scent, in terms of like actual smell, I like this one the best. But the thing that lets it down is it's really poor performance, and I have to mention it because it's really abysmal. It's Tom Ford for Men, the original. This is the first men's fragrance that Tom Ford put out after the first fragrance, which was a women's fragrance that he put out. This warm, almost liquorish citrus is as close to a signature scent from Tom Ford as I can get. Unfortunately, it's also discontinued, and that means I won't be able to douse myself in it to get the performance that I need out of it. And for the longest time, there was a cheap alternative to it called Vera's Wang for Men, but that's been discontinued as well and getting expensive. This is probably the most suave scent from the house that you'll ever smell, provided that you stick your nose into the spot that you sprayed no more than 5 minutes after you sprayed it on. Otherwise, you won't be able to smell it. It's just that bad in performance. Number 2, can you guess what it is? It is Black Orchid. And this is the Eau de Parfum. It's the first release of the house. It's my second favorite. It's totally unisex by today's standards. There's actually footage of Tom Ford telling the story of how they used like headspace technology to capture the scent molecule of the black orchid. They actually grew a black orchid, a single one, and then they used headspace tech. Headspace tech, if you don't know what that is a type of like fragrance molecule capturing technology that's been in use since like the 1970s. It's literally like a glass bulb with like a wick inside it, and then they put it over the plant or the flower that's in bloom, and the wick is made of like some type of like wax or resin or something. It's a proprietary secret. I'm pretty sure it's just some kind of wax. Which absorbs the molecule, the scent molecules of the flower in bloom, and then they take that to some machine, maybe like a gas spectrometer or something like that, and they try and recreate the molecule that they captured in the wick. And that's how you can get the scent of a flower that's in bloom, because the scent of a flower in bloom is different to after you pick it and then you try and take the scent out of the flower itself. So that's how they captured the scent of the black orchid. And this black orchid, it's called Tom Ford's Black Orchid because no one had manufactured a black orchid prior to this, apparently. And I love it. I love this scent. Just the whole story just makes it super cool, and that makes it even cooler. And what's even cooler than that is that there is a limited edition version of this that came out when they released this fragrance back in 2005, with like bottles, like a Parfum version, which had 15 ml capacity of a Parfum of Black Orchid, and there was 5,000 individually numbered and engraved bottles made by Lalique Crystal, and they also did like a 10th anniversary run as well, where they made another 1,200 bottles of that. So if you see them, you'll probably see them online or in the grey market, that people would be selling those. And they come with like a little funnel, and the Parfum is in a different bottle to the actual Lalique bottle itself. The Lalique bottle is empty, and at the bottom of it, it says, one of 5,000 Tom Ford made by Lalique for Tom Ford or something like that, it says on the bottom of the bottle. So yeah, that would be really cool if you could get that. It's a pretty nice collectible, but I don't think it's something that you would enjoy as a parfum because, you know, the EDP just does just fine for me. I've smelled the parfum, I've smelled the eau de toilette, but the EDP does perfectly well for me. I wore it a couple of days ago to work and it lasted the whole day, all through the night, and the next day I could still smell it as well. And it just is a phenomenal scent that transforms over time. Just so good. Some people don't like this, and I can understand why. It's not for everybody. But for me, it just works really well. And this EDP is really ostentatious, you know. If I ever got invited to one of those fancy dress parties where you have to dress in like a tuxedo and wear like this really weird mask on your face to hide your identity, you know, like right before the ritual sacrifices begin, this would be the only fragrance that I'd go for. And finally, my favorite, the number one, I bet you can't guess what this is. You won't be able to guess. You want to give it a try? You want to give it a try? Yeah, wait. Nah, yeah, you're wrong. It's this one. It's Tom Ford Noir Perfume. I bet you thought I was going to pull out like the Tom Ford Noir Extreme or something like that. No, it's Noir Perfume. It's the ladies' one. And it's my favorite, therefore it's the best. It's the best Tom Ford. It's also discontinued, but hell, I don't think I've smelled anything better than this from the house of Tom Ford. It has everything. It has punchy sweetness. Actually, I need to smell it. It has punchy sweetness without being cloying. It has performance for a full day and then some. It has projection. It has class, mystery, playfulness, suaveness. It changes with your body temperature. But most importantly, it has the coveted double take function. Well, let's say the coveted double take note. The double take note that I'm talking about is when people smell it and they think that they're smelling something that they know, but then they snap their necks back and do a double take because they've never smelled something like this, because that's not what they thought it was. Now, this may say Perfume, but it's not Perfume in the traditional sense, as in it's not for women to wear so that others can smell them. It's for women to smell on others. I really hope they come out with a parfum version of this. That would be cool. Well, that's my list. Tell me, what's your favorite Tom Ford fragrance? Do I care? Yeah, I do actually, more than I should do. So engage me in the comments, and as always, thanks for watching.